Joe Budden deletes an episode of his podcast and re-uploads it to Patreon only. That's right, y'all. On a recent episode of the Joe Budden Podcast, Joe did some interesting maneuvers and he put the episode up only to have it taken down. But see, here's the thing. It was a totally different episode. The first episode had an hour and 17 minutes of banter. I think they were getting into their political bag. And then later, when they re-uploaded a second episode to replace that episode, Joe Budden disappears a little bit in the way in, and it's only Flip, Melissa Ford, Ish, Ice, and Parks along with Imani on that episode. And they also put it on Patreon only. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of factors that could be contributing to this. I think what may have happened is that they may have misspoken in the political sphere. They may have been uninformed. Maybe Ish or Imani was talking crazy about Kamala Harris and they decided to just clip it and take it out. Another thing that may have happened is maybe Joe Budden just wasn't feeling it and decided to leave. But that's odd because a whole hour with Joe and he's not there. I don't know. Something's going on and it's been a real bad summer for the Joe Budden Podcast. I'm talking about things like editing mistakes. A lot of edit mistakes are happening. A lot of half-stepping going on the pod. I mean, this is just odd. It was a completely different pod. It was like Joe's gone after the first 30 minutes and the conversation was completely different, y'all. It was completely different. Never mind that Queen's Flip was the A mic. I gotta be honest. I don't like the pod without Joe there. Which is why it probably got released on Patreon only. And it was a bit of a misstep. So let me know what you think. Do you feel like something odd happened? Let me know in the comments. Did you listen to the original episode? All I'm seeing online is that they were talking about politics and maybe Imani or Ish got a little crazy and that's why they may have decided to reroute the episode because Imani was on Spaces, Twitter Spaces specifically, and the points he was making about Kamala Harris didn't sound the most informed. So perhaps that could be a reason. Maybe Joe Budden felt like the pod was talking about things and they wasn't sounding too educated. That's been a source of contention in the past. Remember, there was an episode where Joe Budden called everyone home after, Ish spoke about a certain subject he wasn't informed on. And that's another thing. Flip said in the now released on Patreon only episode that Joe Budden wanted to end the pod earlier, but they asked him if they could continue to record. So was there supposed to be an episode to come out at all? I don't think Joe wanted to release any episode. I think he wanted to call it a day, but the pod pressured him into releasing something, and now we get this Joe-less Patreon episode that I think a lot of people don't really enjoy. Let's be honest. I mean, Joe rebranded the whole structure of the podcast around him. It's not I'll name this podcast later. It's the Joe Budden Podcast. So technically, there should be no episodes of him being absent. Joe Budden should be there every episode. And when he's not there, he should pre-record an episode or do some type of evergreen content. Because Queen's Flip, as an A mic, sometimes he's hit or miss. And, the way he goes in through topics, in and out, I don't know, man. I don't know, yo. And I also wanted to outline something. I think Queen's Flip is stalking me, y'all. So yesterday I went to a restaurant and then Flip was like, he tweeted the restaurant I was at. So I'm very unsafe, y'all. I don't know what's going on, but stay tuned. I'll give you updates on Queen's Flip stalking me. Okay, y'all. So let me know what you think about this re-upload deleted content by Joe. Do you feel like there's a deeper, darker criminal link? I think the podcast finds itself in a really odd spot. A lot of people are going to say, oh, Danny, you did an episode about nothing. Nah, this isn't nothing. This represents something very pivotal to the JBN. What is going on? Are people slacking behind the scenes? Are people not coming prepared? So Joe is like, oh man, I'm out of here. Y'all know what y'all talking about. Let's wrap it up. I ain't feeling it. Y'all not motivating the leader. The rank and file soldiers are half-stepping. And you know Joe, he likes to act like he's confrontational, but he's not really good at handling things when they start. Like if something is an issue, he lets it bubble and boil and bubble and boil, and then he addresses it, as opposed to having a structure where he addresses it in real time like a normal company. A normal company, when you have human resources, you say, hey, Johnny, Mark from accounting, he seems to be a little aggressive whenever I disagree with him. Can you go talk to him about it? That person goes talks to him about it. Here, it seems like none of that structure is in place. I think I'm reading the tea leaves. And if you don't like to read the tea leaves, I'm sorry. This channel was born of speculation. If you're watching and you're getting angry, why are you here? There's other content out there where people just state the news and don't go too much into speculation. Shout out to Shakes Move. Shout out to Panda Chop. Shout out to Coffee Speaks. Shout out to other channels that clip up the spaces and repost it and don't really add much to it. The other channels I mentioned, they do a lot of great work. They actually, put their voices in it. They have a narrative to it. But there's other places that just state what's happened. This is about speculation. I am a Reddit section come alive. And I think when an episode gets taken down and re-uploaded, and it's a completely different episode and Joe's not on it, something is up, y'all. I don't care what none of y'all say. And on top of that, there's a lot of y'all who agree. There's a lot of y'all who was probably listening to the episode like, hey, where the hell is Joe? And why did they delete the episode? It's looking odd. It's looking weird. Why did a certain topic about Kamala Harris get removed? I don't know. Are these people too committed to Twitter Spaces? That's another thing I'm noticing. Members of the pod, specifically Flip, Imani, and Joe, they seem to be enjoying Twitter Spaces more than the damn pod. They give it up more there. They're more honest, more forthcoming. I don't know. Maybe you guys need to put the Twitter Spaces down, delete the app, and actually get back to being real podcasters. Alright, y'all. Follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. I'm tapped in, so tap in with me. Also, I released a brand new clip of Stop the King. It's my new show with Shampoo, aka King of All Blacks, formerly of The Howard Stern Show, formerly of The Star Show, formerly of Improper Improv. And now we're doing a weekly show where we're going to be breaking down a lot of topics, content, political stuff, all types of randomness. And, so tap in with me there. It's an interesting piece. I'm building a bit of a network. I don't know if you know that. It's not the biggest network, but it's going to get there. There's another podcast I plan on launching at the top of 2025. So we got a lot of things going on here, man. It's the rise. We got to get busy. All right, y'all. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace. I feel the passion, the way that you do.